pretty darn impressive. Whereas Axie Mesa, they looked impressive too. They finished top of their group. They only lost one match, but they keep dropping maps here and there. And going 0-3 down yesterday was a big shock. And again, I think after that, a lot of people will probably be favouring Liquid to come through this side of the bracket and in towards the finals. Where I think on the other side of the bracket, a lot of people probably expecting Dignitas Dead Pixels to stomp through whoever may come up against them in the semi-finals, either AT Gaming or Baguette. We'll find out who that will be later today, 9 PM CEST. So about 2 hours and 20 minutes from now, we have our final quarter-final match. So let's introduce our players. In the upper right-hand corner of the map, we have from Team Liquid, Snute. And down to the bottom left, our yellow Zerg player from Cascade, Yolitik. Also known as Minato, and we're going to call him Minato in this series because honestly I cannot bring myself to say Yolitik every time I want to say his name. So we're going to say Minato, and he's a player who has always been a strong contender for Cascade in the SC2 ITL. I remember back on when Habitation Station was in the map pool, he took down Jachi on Habitation Station. I think that might have been all the way back in Season 1. Cascade and Mind Sandy generally have like a really fun record against each other in the SC2 ITL. They obviously met in the finals of Season 1, and they've met a lot of times since then. It's one of kind of the big rivalries of the competition. So yeah, I always remember Minato. I mean, it was more than anything for that game against Jachi, because it was a crazy game. It was like a Roach Bane bust, but Jachi survived, and it was like an insane 30-minute game of just Roach Bane crashing into Jachi, just hanging on with like one Marine, and then the next wave of Roach Bane comes, and then Jachi holds on with like a single bunker which just finished. It was an insane game. Might even be on YouTube. But anyways, I've always been a fan of Minato since then, and he did take some time off. We didn't see him much in, I think it was Season 2 and the beginning of Season 3, but then he's made quite the comeback for Season 4 at least. He's been playing quite regularly for Cascade this season. So we got a couple of Lings moving across the map. Of course, this is Snute on the other side, and we know a lot about him. Don't need to talk about him too much because we all know who he is. We know what he likes to do. We know he is a very strong player and probably the best foreign Zerg out there right now. So can his ZVZ hold up? So far his ZVP today has been tried and tested, and I think that's probably going to be the last of the ZVP we see out of Snute today, because I imagine if Minato falls, it will be ZVT to follow this up from Cass. But we've got to get to that stage first, as Minato with his first couple of Lings will be looking for a little bit of information early on here, and he's going to see the Baneling nest on the way down, so knows that Snute wants to commit to some form of aggression here early in this game, or the potential for aggression. I mean, just because there's a Baneling nest down doesn't mean you're actually going to attack, but the potential is there, so that's something Minato has to take into account here. Spinecrawler on the way up for him. He did mine 100 gas initially, and now he's continued past that 100 gas. Looks as though he wants to just go into a fairly fast Roach Warren / Lair in the few moments time, so we'll see what he does with that. I mean, quite often with this early gas, if you don't get speed, you can go into a Roach Warren and an Ego Chamber, start your +1 nice and early, and of course you can set them up in a bit of a wall at the front here as well, which will help to defend. Snute starts up a Lair, so he's not really going to commit to much Ling Bane pressure here. I'm just going to hang back for now, as overall I think this is probably going to work out quite nicely for Minato. I mean, he's going to end up in a situation where he's going to have he's going to be able to have his +1 started nice and early in this game. Snute though, taking those extra gases, doesn't look as though he's going to be playing Roaches, not initially anyways. Looks as though he wants to go straight into Aspire. So we're looking to see that from Snute. So two different styles of play here, and this actually works out really nicely for Minato, because he's going to be the player who would have benefited less from speedlings. He's not really going to have the best of times denying a third base against Snute. He's probably going to have Lings of his own out, so I think it's working well for Minato. He's going to get a really nice lead on these upgrades. He's going to have a really strong potential timing here with his Roaches, with Roach speed and +1 to try and move across the map. It'll probably hit just before Mutas come out. Well, kind of hit Snute's natural as the Mutalisks pop out of the eggs, which means that he should get at least some damage done if he wants to commit to something like that. The Spire does start up from Snute here, so again, that trek towards the Mutalisks. Roach speed begins, of course. 110 seconds on that, so again, it's looking as though if he does want to commit to this, Roaches would kind of hit at that timing where, again, the Mutas are going to be more or less just popping out. So, yeah, these couple of roaches, these lings moving across the map and looking to see what they might be able to get up to. Moving across here, going to be able to find a few tumors, and again with this early speed, Snute wants to do little things like this. He wants to try and grab a queen, he wants to try and deny the third base of his opponent for a little bit here. His queen will go down, but it will cost Snute these zerglings, as the rest of them slowly working away on them rocks, and Snute takes a very interesting third base over here. Is that something which Minato has spotted? No, not yet, and he might just, I guess not, it depends which route he takes. It's such a weird third base to take, we barely ever see this third base taken, especially in ZVZ. So interested to see what Snute really has planned for this. 3 Evo Chambers coming up the wall. I mean, he is preparing for this roach timing, so there's no way on earth that Minato is actually going to get in here and do damage, so it's kind of nice. But what he could do is definitely move towards the third base at least and cancel that, if he knew it was on the way up though. But you can see, you know, he's checked over towards this third. He just doesn't assume this third's going to be on the way up. Minato starts to tech switch out of just pure roach right now, going into that Hydralisk den, and starts +2 as well, so again, he turned away from the roach commitment. Now, if he goes towards these back rocks, which is definitely a possibility for him, he might just find these this third base anyways, or he just may think about it. You may just kind of know about it anyways. He looks as though to be tack moving over there, so might have just assumed that it was on the way up over here. And Mirrors are not in position to deal with this. They're over to the left-hand side dealing with these 5 roaches, and these 5 roaches are going to keep them busy while this third base falls. And Snute going to lose his third base, as Minato now will have the potential to just back away from this. Mirrors going to come in overhead and try and clean this up. And in fact, they will be able to chase down these roaches. So, roaches are going to get chased down. These roaches are going to get onto the creep and escape, more or less. And this is really nice from Minato. I mean, he really didn't lose anything to deny this third base. Wow, that's Swordcrawler. He's saying, "Nuh-uh, roaches, you're not my buddy." And the Spinecrawler will give up his position to let these roaches through in the end. Now, if Hydra's already up, I mean, this is really nice for Minato, because again, these Mutas are not going to achieve too much. They're actually going to find themselves a queen here, which is something I really don't think should have happened. I think Minato really could have moved up that ramp and engaged there a little bit with these Hydras. I mean, there's only 7, I guess, so it's a little bit risky. So I guess better safe than sorry. Still no third base for Minato though, so really being slowed down by these Mutas. As Snute still going to re-establish his own third base nice and quickly here, cleaning out the creep spread too. Really limits the mobility of the army from Minato, of course. Snoot's starting to transition himself now. +1 missile attacks on the way for him. Centrifugal hooks as well, and looking as though he wants to go into kind of a Muta Roach Bane composition. The Banelings will be a really good substitute instead of Hydralisks, where you can crash into the army. If you can connect with the Hydras, great, but even crashing into the Roaches can be very, very effective. As Snute not quite finding the Overlord there, and this Mutalisk flock will just continue to pick off a couple of creep tumors here and there. Another Roach goes down, and creep tumors continuing to be picked away at here, as these units are going to slink away to the upper right side of the map. And Snute going to be moving around with these mutas, and we'll find a few of these roaches on the back end of this army moving across the map, as he has the potential to move up into the main base here. There's a lot of Banelings finishing up. Baneling speed not there just yet. Mutas are going to be left to actually deal with reinforcements. Snute a little bit supply blocked, which makes this a little bit troubling for him. His his Spinecrawlers aren't in the best positions. He's going to start splitting away. You can see these Banelings, they want to connect with the Hydralisk, and whoa, there's a big clump over there, but the splitting is pretty good from Minato. But he loses a lot of his Hydras, which means these Roaches are just going to be free to these Mutas, and the Mutas are going to start picking away at these. How much damage can Minato get done? He's already killed off 16 workers here. Moving down to the low ground, he's going to get a queen and more drones once again. And this is really nice. Again, the Mutas just don't really have the DPS to clean up these Roaches super quick. I feel as though he should have got more than 17 drones though. I mean, with all of these at the natural being kind of attacked there for a few moments, he's going to move over towards the third base. The Mutas actually heading back in towards the main to protect the protect the drones here, which means this third base, is it going to go down? Probably not. With +1 of those Mutas, these Roaches seem to be falling pretty quickly. And Minato is going to back away from this, still on 2 bases of his own. Snute with these 3 bases, but down by 16 workers. Minato needs to think about a third base soon, though, because he does have that main base beginning to mine out a little bit. Snute redrones after this, and Minato adds on more queens, a couple more Hydras, and a couple of Roaches as well. So just continuing to kind of rebuild here as Mutaslings coming across the map, looking to see what they might be able to get done. Again, checking for that third base. I mean, he knows the third base isn't there, but he kind of moved over there anyways. Finds himself an Overlord. Minato sits ahead in supply, 6 workers ahead, 22 supply ahead, and ahead by a missile upgrade as well. Snute continuing to commit into +2 missiles now, but I'm not sure how much that's really going to do, because he's not really building Roaches or anything
at this point in time, he's really been focused on just pure Muta and Banelings, and now he starts building a few more roaches. I wonder if Minato can just move across the map though and try and get something done. We're going to see a Hydra picked off from behind again. These Mutas really doing a good job against this these reinforcements. And Minato just going to have to wait with these. But I mean, still, he's moving across the map with an army I'm not sure if Snute can really defeat. He doesn't have that much money. I mean, he's evened up the worker count now, but of course he spent he spent a lot of his he spent a lot of his lava, a lot of his money in the past few moments rebuilding that worker count. It's not really had a chance to kick back in just yet. So as we see these units slowly move across the map here, Snute hits another supply block as another Overlord falls. And he might be in a little bit of trouble. Minato continuing to move across the map, going to come up to the high ground right now in this third base. I think will definitely fall. I don't think Snute can save this. Roaches coming forwards here, a few Banelings, they really, again, need to connect with these Hydras. They need to be able to take away the anti-air. Roaches to the right-hand side, going to get found, going to get taken down here very, very quickly. But at the same time, we see this army moving forwards, and Hydras moving away, trying to escape from these Banelings. Queens here as well will be able to transfuse a couple of these Hydras, keep them alive, and with that, Minato might just about be able to keep on pushing forward. Some roaches coming in from the main base here. They've ran all the way through those back rocks, and now Minato pushes up to the high ground. Is Snute going to have enough to defend? It's going to come down a lot to these Mutalisks as they're going to start trading away. Transfusers coming down. Snute is holding on though. These queens not quite enough to help out, and in fact Snute's going to survive with even a couple of roaches left on the ground. A couple of roaches in the main base too, going to pick off a queen, a couple of drones, but not really too much damage done here, and Minato is going to GG out. I guess he just doesn't have the gas to continue on here. He's got so many minerals in the bank, and Snute's going to take Liquid to a 3-0. Let's just take a moment to look at this. I mean, we can't really see the units now, but he only has roaches, a couple of queens out. He's got a lot of minerals. I feel as though, kind of interesting. I mean, he's not really out of the game. It's 2 base against 2 base. He needs a third though, and I guess he just doesn't. I mean, he can sit defensively though. That's the thing. He can sit defensively against the Mutas.